Ann joins us in New York City. Ann, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you. How are you both doing?
Doing great. How can we help?
I called you guys because I just wanted to know, I'm a little confused whether I should buy a car with cash or using a car loan.
Where's the confusion coming from?
So the confusion is because of the COVID situation and everything. My husband had lost his job, and till for like at least 10 years, we managed to ride with one car. But now the new job that he got is going to be requiring to travel to his workplace, which is going to be, it doesn't need to be right now, but in the coming months, maybe in the next 2-3 months. So we were trying to buy a car, but just confused what to do.
How much is this car going to cost?
The one that I have right now is an old one, so we were trying to buy a new one.
Oh, brand new
just
car.
Just because the one that I have is kind of like on its last leg.
How much do you have in savings, Ann?
Right now, 100,000.
100,000 in savings.
That's great.
Okay. Do you have any debt?
Except for mortgage, nothing.
Amazing, Ann.
Wow, you guys have done really well.
We got a real easy answer for
Thank you.
Ann. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Pay with cash. And I would say that whether you have $100,000 or $1,000.
That's what I wanted to do, but just the confusion part came up because of the previous situations we had where the job was lost and everything.
Yes, which I understand. Absolutely.
So you're saying, hey, I want to keep liquid cash in case something happens.
Right.
But you guys have plenty of money. I mean, what is 3 to 6 months of expenses for you guys add up to?
With the mortgage and everything, it would come up to, I would say, like 30,000.
Okay, so that means you have 70,000 to play with here. And the other side, you said brand new car, and I don't like that because we don't recommend you get a brand new car unless you're a millionaire where you can take the hit on depreciation. Are you guys millionaires?
No.
Okay. So if I'm you, I'm going to go look for maybe a three-year-old car, 4-year-old car in that same range. I mean, you guys can still afford a good car. What's your household income?
The household income right now with the new job, everything is going to be almost 9,000.
9,000 a month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
This is
and
great.
you're in a great position. I mean, and you think about it, the car, it's to get you to point A to point B. A great used car will do that. It's totally fine. You have a good amount of money. You guys can you don't have to get a $5,000 car. I mean, you can spend a little bit there and get a new car for you, and even look at, and I don't want you to spend all 70,000 on 2 cars by any means, but you have enough to cash flow. Because here's where I would go, Ann, in your mind. I understand the mindset. Okay, I could take out a loan and have more cash available in case something happens. But here's the deal.
Right.
If something happens like a job loss again, you're going to have a car payment. And if you go get 2 new cars, I mean, the average car payment's around $556 a month on a new car. So if you guys just theoretically went out and got 2 brand new cars, you're going to have $1,000. Yeah, I know you wouldn't, but just go there. You're at $1,000 cars, a payment for cars with no income, and then you're having to dip into the emergency fund anyways, that fund to go and pay off debt. So when you don't have debt, you have no bills, you have no risk. So if you go and use some of this money to go and buy a new car or 2 new cars, and by new car to you, used, but if something happens with the job, you have no bills and you have 6 months worth of an emergency fund in the bank. Does that make sense? Like that should all give you more peace of mind than having a car payments, which ups the risk.
Yeah.
But it's a great question, Ann, especially if you're new to this. But we will never recommend, again, even if you have $1,000 in the bank, we're not going to recommend taking out a car loan, because also when you look at just the math too, and for me, other debt people, they justify, whether it's like student loans. Well, I'm investing in myself, like you hear all these things. But for a car loan, it is so hard for me just mathematically when people take out a car loan, because I'm like, you are taking out a loan, you're paying interest on an asset that is going down in value. And so by the end of the car loan, the car is worth less than half of what you bought it, and you paid, I think on average, I think it's
The
close to
interest also.
eight or $9,000 on top of what the
crush
original was. So like just the math of it, I want you to look at it. It should just kind of make you go, whoa. Like you'd rather just pay for it, be done. And there's something about it. I have some friends, and they've always just done car loans. They've always had, that's what they've done, and they had to get a new SUV. And she was like, Rachel, we're gonna just pay for it.
Oh, boy.
And I was like, that's great. You should just pay cash. And so a few months ago we were talking about it, and she was like, I can't tell you how good it feels to just have no payments on a car. She was like, I mean, it's unbelievable. She's like, I never would have thought it would have felt that great, because they always had the money to pay for a car. She was just like Aunt. She had the money, but they just chose to get a car. But there is something about at the end of the month, you're not paying to something sitting in your driveway. Like it's done. It is done. And you get to look in the windshield versus the rearview mirror with your money.
And with that new car situation, everyone's always like, well, it's a new car. It's just way safer. I'm like, well, when you drive it off the lot, it's a used car, and it's just as safe. So a 3-year-old car is going to do just fine. I have an '09, and I've had no problems.
Yes.
It's very old.
And I'll tell you, I'm like, especially those of you on baby step 2, we take this call a lot on the show of having to replace a car. Because there's a truth that, if you have, we call it a hoopty around here, but you have a car and it keeps breaking, and there is a point that you're spending more on the repairs than what it's worth. Like there is a point, yes, you need a new car. A new car to you. But I'm like, you can go on Craigslist right now. I mean, you can do anything, and you can get a great $5,000-$6,000 car.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to spend.
My car was $6,000.
Yes.
I'm very happy with it. Still drive it today.
Yes. I mean, and even less than that you can do. But I'm like, there are great options out there. And cars, it is that thing. It takes you to point A to point B. But we've gotten in this thing of like, we just love cars in our country. We love it. And they're not bad. New cars aren't bad, but you just want to be in a financial situation where you can take the hit.